Welcome back. In this episode, we're going to cover how to get your measurements, how to read the back of the sewing pattern envelope, which contains quite a bit of information that you're going to need for your project. So if you're ready, let's get to it. Now, measuring is with, you look at the pattern, and the pattern will tell you, it'll say sizes and it'll break it down: bust, waist, hip, back, waist, length. So, looking at this chart here, it shows you where your tape measure needs to be for your bust, where it needs to be for your waist, where it needs to be for your hips, how you measure back areas. And if you're having to measure a back area, you're going to want to do that with help, because you always are bending or hunching when you're trying to get something like that done. You want help for that one. So you have your measurements. What do you do now? On the front fold or flap of this pattern, you're going to see sizes: 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, etc. Pattern sizes are not the same thing as a sizing of clothes we have here in the US. Like, you're like, oh, well, I'm a size 8. Not in a pattern, you're not. You could do it in a size 8, you're never going to be able to fit it. It's too small. It goes larger with measurements, not smaller. So if you're a size 8 in American, forget that size number and go to the pattern, match up your measurements, get your size. Depending on the fit, that's why I like picking scrubs. They're loose fit. You have a little more wiggle room in it. Take a look at your measurements. If they are more, then you're going to have to go a size up. If they're close, it's recommended go size up. But if they're that close, and this is a loose fitting garment, you probably can go with the lower size. But remember, recommended go size up. Looking on the top of the pattern, right next to those big numbers right there, it's talking about the pants and tops. It's giving you special instructions. So it's just this loose fitting pullover top, talks about the seams. It has a back casting for elastic to help narrow it a little bit, to give your middle definition. You don't have to put that on there if you don't want to. If you're the body shape that bringing elastic around your waist is not what you would consider flattering, don't put it on there. Simple as that. All right. It talks about a partial drawstring waist for D, but we're working on A, so I'm not really worried about that. And E, it talks about the front band, partial casting, elastic, side pockets, blah, blah, blah. This tells you about your garment. All right? Next down, you see again the sizing. And this is telling you how many yards of material. You already have gotten your pattern size. So you go, let's say we're doing A, and it shows, okay, if you're a size 8, you need a 45-inch width. Most materials are sold at 45-inch width. Most of the materials I've seen at 60 plus are stuff like velvet, sometimes. Upholstery, that kind of thing. So normally it's 45. So you need at least 1¼ inches of your solid fabric. And if you look just below that where it says contrast A, you need, for your fancy printed material, you need 3/4 of a yard. So 1¼ with the 45 and 3/4 of a yard with the 45. All right, so now we have our size. We know what we need to get. Look down below, you see fusible interfacing. You will need fusible interfacing with the shirts. This one says for C and D. A has bias tape ribbing, but I would go ahead and get some just in case because, well, oh, I see what it's saying. C and D is that. All right. So fusible interfacing for pattern C, D, and it also needs a little bit of fusible interfacing for E. So again, get your size, and it tells you, like for size 8, you need 1/8 of a yard. I would go with the light to medium interfacing for that. Go below that, and it talks about what fabrics you should use for this pattern. Here it's talking about cotton blends. Stretch wovens, stay away from right now if you're a beginner. And yeah, just go with cotton and cotton blends as a beginner right now. If you want to get fancier with it later, that's great. It talks about notions under that. All the views for the shirt need elastic. You need a 1/2 inch piece of elastic, and it says 1 package of 1/4 inch double fold bias tape. E, the pants, you're going to need 1 1/4 yard of 1 inch elastic for the pants. That's what the notion's about. This tells you what you need for that particular pattern. If it had a zipper, it would have told you what kind of zipper and how big. If it had buttons, it would tell you how many buttons and the size. Not all buttonholes are created equal. Down below that is the pictures of the finished garments, where it shows A, where you have the contrasting material on the sleeves, the front, and the back. B is just a solid color. C has, it's a solid color. D is a solid color. And E is a solid color. So that's another thing with your fabrics. On your first time around, do not go out and get a printed fabric for like the pants or the solid color tops. You don't have to sew A with me. If you want to do B, do B. I'm just asking that you do it in a solid color. Mainly because when you're doing something in patterns, you're going to need one to get extra material to be able to make up the slack for the pattern not matching. You want them to match. Let's see. Okay, here's a good example. If you can see this little guy, try here. Yes, I'm wearing him. There, you see that little funny yellow blob right here? That is where the smiley faces didn't match up. Nobody took into consideration nap when making this particular scrub. So, what we're going to do is, we'll cover that later, much later. Let's first get you comfortable with the machine, with patterns, setting them up, and playing. Let's have fun with this. It does not have to be like, oh my God. It can be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And it's always very satisfying when you get your finished garment out. So, without any further ado, let's go on to the next video.